efficient. Dividends is my mission, and I'm inspired to try on digits. Yeah.
Yo.
All right, look like we got a caller in too. 1 second. Caller, hey, we're having technical difficulties, caller. Just give me 1 second, please.
Trying to work this out.
This is hilarious.
That is so funny. Hey.
Oh, man. All right, it looks like we live now, finally.
All right.
I gotta just... what's going on, people? Off the Chain episode number 15. We had some huge technical difficulties. YouTube changed the way this whole thing happened, so I'm just trying to figure it out as we go here. That's life, ain't it? Figuring out as we go. Tonight, I've got my main man, Trek.
What's going on,
Baltimore. Be more in the building.
Be more in the building.
I don't know if you saw this tweet I put out earlier. Man, y'all beat us in the murder rate. I thought we had that crown. What's going on down there, man?
You know, I can't even tell you, bro. Like sometimes stuff is cool, and then like just stuff happens. And I don't mean to downplay. Like I honestly don't want to make it sound like I'm downplaying. You know, people do be feeling a way about stuff. And
what do you mean?
It explodes in, you know, physical confrontations. And you would think going into winter, like, you know, hey, cool it out, like stay in the house, like stay warm. But that's not how it's playing out. And I'll be honest with you, I don't pay much attention to the local news out here because I swear, like, it always seems like somebody getting bodied. And I just don't feel like hearing that negative news all the time, bro. All right. So
yeah, man. So thanks for coming on tonight, kind of doing a co-host with me on this Off the Chain episode number 15. I want to try something different. Got a new graphic going on. We're going to be talking about Tezos. That's going crazy. We got the Patriot Act that slipped in on Thursday night. They had the carrot. They had the carrot dangling. Had us all watching the Congress hearings and the impeachment, and what did they do?
Just slipped it right in.
Slipped it right in.
You got Mickey'd, and you know what's funny, bro? Like somebody was saying to me the other day, like while the whole impeachment thing was being blasted everywhere, mainstream, it was like, all right, so if it's on all the news channels, like what are they not covering right now? This I would imagine is only one of the things that they didn't cover. Like tip of the iceberg.
What do you suspect? What else do you suspect?
Honestly, I think one of the things might be more in regards to like the economic side of things playing out with what our position is on the global landscape. Like we are getting sidestepped, and everyone keeps. That's the other thing too. Like, all right, so Trump impeachment hearing, Trump, Russia. Everyone's over here doing the wag the dog's tail to impeachment and Russia. Lo and behold, the Patriot Act got renewed, and China is pushing full steam ahead in what they doing to like not even sideswipe us, like because they publicly announced the things that they're going to do in 5-year plans.
Yeah.
And so I'm always at like a loss when people are like, oh man, China just did X, Y, and Z, or when did this happen? It's like, dog, they literally make these public announcements through the government, through the news media. It's just that you over here listening to this stupid Western stuff that's not telling you that. Like,
right.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, man. So, you know, we've got this whole Patriot Act. If you guys didn't know, They reinstated or I don't know what you want to call it, extended it or whatever. And how about this,
It's an
bro?
extension. It's an
The
extension.
Democrats, it got no votes from the Republicans. Now, I'm not necessarily saying I'm a Republican, but I've been siding on the Republican side for many years now. They're both sides are just corrupt, But I feel like the Dems have just gone to another level. They've leveled up to a point where I'm calling them a terrorist cell. They're a terrorist cell within the United States of America. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna say I think that both sides of this coin have done very well at bamboozling the people to think
Absolutely
that things in their best interest. And if you read this article, G&Gs, pay attention to some of the names that decided to either not say nothing or to be like, yeah, we should do this. Oh, and
yeah,
that there's I think the fourth paragraph in or whatever, the third, whatever. They talk about how they waived the right to even read what the new stuff was.
correct.
Wait, what? And you supposed to be voting in my interest? How?
Come on, man.
Bro,
When are we gonna wake up, man? I just don't understand. Like, it says the reauthorization was introduced late and offered lawmakers only 72 hours to read the entire continuing resolution. High-profile members of the Progressive Squad reps, of course, we got Alexandra Corsia, whatever her name is, Democrat, and then some lady named Omar.
That's the Muslim lady from, I think, out west.
Oh, the Muslim. Okay. Who had previously spoken out against the act, were among those who voted to renew it.
Exactly, bro. I've been saying since the get-go, what's her name out of New York? I've been waiting to see what's going to be that moment when it's like, oh, they gotta. I'm not saying this is that moment. I am not saying this is that moment. It might have happened beforehand. I'm also going to post-preface this as saying, I don't necessarily pay attention in detail of what everybody's stance and what their movements and votes have been. But enough of how it gets to me and what I really look to say, oh, okay, well, this person is more in line with what I think would work out best for the country, the citizens as a whole.
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks are talking a good game. I think they're playing on this new thing of how, the millennial generation, they want more ability to express themselves in things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's express all you want, but vote on stuff that's actually going to help you. You know what? I'm going to go back to the tweet that I said the other day. I'm not supporting no movement that's talking about voting if you ain't talking about lobbying, especially when you pushing whole voting campaigns at Black people. I'm not about the whole Hotep and all that community stuff. I'm simply looking at how I understand history. You didn't get in the whole shove, push, kick, and everything about, oh, you gotta vote. Your forefathers did blah, blah, blah. That framing of a historical content in regards to how voting matters is a half-assed story in the way that I look at it. On the end of, you voted at the end result after the options were being presented to you.
There you go. Right. So you really don't have a choice. Right. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You have a choice on the choices they give you.
Right.
Basically.
So
basically, you have, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm very concerned with this country, man. I'm very concerned. And I don't know if it's going to change. Because our people in general are just ignorant to the fact that things like this are happening on a daily basis, on a weekly basis.
All right. Something that I've been thinking about over the last, let's say since around the summertime, and has become more apparent to me for the things I pay attention to. The social contract between the people and their governments, whatever, sovereign nation you're a part of or you work for, whatever, is being put into a more questionable state, right? If we look at Hong Kong, if we look at Iran, if we look at Egypt, if we look at Spain, if we look at Argentina, if we look at Chile, if we look at a bunch of different places around the globe where the citizens, the people of that country are like, yo, y'all can't keep doing what you're doing, which is screwing us over, and we help put y'all there, or like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but the government isn't doing its part. You have other foreign entities coming in and saying, all right, let's start making austerity measures to take more from the people and then push it back up to people who not even in that country.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that to me,
Jimmy Baggs said, this is a good point. Jimmy Baggs just said here that people got to change before we can change the system. I mean, that's a very simple statement that he just made, but it's so true. Mm-hmm. It's so, you know what I mean? We definitely have to wake up before we can change the system. And I just maybe I'm being pessimistic. I don't see us changing. I just don't see us changing, man. I think we're too comfortable. You see it in just where we are positioned in the globe as far as the different categories, healthcare, the quality of food, education, all these various things. We're nowhere near in the top 10 or on any of them. Okay,
so how about this one? Let me put it in my little shaded perspective, right? And I'm gonna tie in the crypto thing with this.
Okay, cool.
One of my arguments or theories is that mass adoption happens on the end of a seesaw. It's a seesaw theory based on the top down and bottom up thing. I think we spoke about this like last year or something. When you look at what is going on globally, as far as this upheaval, as far as like, what first tier country citizens are like, hey, screw this, we don't want to go through this anymore, compared to the second and third tier countries, right? Where they don't have the stability of a centralized finance system or a centralized government, or at least even a stable government. Look at France. They still got the yellow jacket thing going on how many months later? That's a first tier country. We have many systems in place that give us a level of convenience that we don't have certain struggles. So I'm saying myself included, I'm in a first tier country, the US, same as you, right? And we have certain systems in place where it's like, all right, am I worrying about the electricity going out today? Nope, we don't have rolling brownouts. Am I worrying about, is my internet not gonna work? Well, if I don't pay my bill, it's not gonna work. Other than that, like, I'm good. So with that level of convenience, we get conditioned to having that, like, all right, well, I don't got to worry about that because it's not affecting me directly. So we're spoiled in that sense.
Yeah.
And I also think that we take it for granted. That's like, it's a weird stance to have for me, in that I understand what the other side is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, going to a place where electricity is in limited supply, right? So you don't watch TV. Why? Because that would be a waste of electricity. Water is a highly valued resource. You're not just going to, pour out a cup of water and then drink some of it and then throw the rest of it away. Why? Because you don't know when the next time you're going to see a bottle of water, like where you can just do what you need to do with it. Like, I've gone in those different extremes of places and resources. And so I come back here and I'm just like, oh yeah, life is good. Like, I'm in my house, my heat is on right now, my light is doing what it's doing. Life is good. But life is only good relative to where I am and what's going on for me, right? Correct. Mind you, there's more people in the world who are having total opposite situations than how we're existing right now. And when you know it, like, know that's a thing, it's a weird place to be. Example, I was reading an article by, what is her name? Leah? She writes for CoinDesk, and she wrote an article about the limits on crypto in, not not unconventional, but like turmoil environment. So case in point, in Iran, you have limited electricity, which means limited internet access on top of the firewall and the IP blocking that they're doing there. How are you using cryptos to help as far as like the money part of it, right? As far as being able to say, hey, I need to go buy some bread for my kids. I need to go, get some petrol for my vehicle to get to wherever I'm going.
Yeah.
You can't, like, again, it's one of these things that I look at and go, it's a weird place to be in knowing that you are enjoying the conveniences of your relative environment. And at the same time, there's X amount of other people who are not anywhere near your level of comfort or convenience. And that's the reality of this whole thing. And that's why I have my theory on the seesaw effect of the top down and bottom up model of how adoption will really play out when it comes to this cryptocurrency thing.
So let me ask you, right. So I guess my question is, if we can't get people politically to wake up, how are we going to get them monetarily to wake up? Does one come after the other? Does one need to come before the other? What are your thoughts about that? And then people, just before you answer that, on the screen, guys, you can call in. We can have this conversation with Trek here. The number is 669-900-6833. Use a code at the bottom of your screen, 169-861-119. But go ahead, man.
Does one come before the other? I'll frame it this way, right? I heard somebody say, it was either today or I was listening to somebody, and they said, poor people don't think past 2 days. They don't see past 2 days. And I'm adding this part into that. That's a general thing that I would agree with.
Mm-hmm.
On the money side of it, poor people, your highest concern is the ability to be able to afford what you need in order to survive day to day, right? Political agenda wise, those things are more long-term thought out processes and involvements, as opposed to I go and do this job for a couple of hours. I know that I will get X amount of fiat in return for it, or some compensation that would allow me to deal with my immediacy of food, clothes, and shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that the money part is what will be the more immediate thing to come first for people to say, for example, when negative interest rates start hitting the US banks, and I'm just gonna it's coming to a bank near you. And when it does, most people might look at it and go, I'm not really worried about it, because they might not have a saving account. Most people have a checking account. They don't necessarily I don't know what the hard numbers are for the people who have a checking and saving, right? But I would imagine most people just have a checking account. Why? Because X amount of jobs in the US now look to do direct deposit. You have some places that won't even give you a check, a hard check.
What's the point of having a savings account? There's no yield on them.
Yo.
There's no yield. There's no.
Hold up.
There literally is no point in having a savings account for most people.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
We understand that for where we at.
They are making everyone go into stocks. Look at Robinhood. How popular that's the savings account. Robinhood is the savings account.
I'm gonna make a joke.
That's a dangerous thing, because equities are like people. You remember how like in 2008, well, prior to 2008, people, the perception of a home, right, was stability. You know what I'm saying? Like your net worth. If you had a home, you were paying toward that mortgage, paying it down, or even if you had it almost paid off or fully paid off. That's a symbol of stability. It never goes. The price of your home never goes down. You know?
So on that one, I would argue it was a symbol of stability for a certain generation and cultural understanding, like in I'm gonna say it as financial literacy, and I'm framing it that way on the end of, in the States, we're taught, hey, you work out to get X amount of money, you make sure you save, while you save, go towards getting the house because that will be your largest asset, which will then in turn increase your overall asset value, right? Get the house. That's like one of the things you hear constantly, especially in our generation. And then on our parents' generation going back, it was always about get the house, right? This newer generation coming up behind us, like, they're looking at it going, wait, I got to take out X amount of money that's not even my money, and I'm gonna pay more back for it for something that you can still take from me? Wait, what?
Something that they could still take from you, and you've paid the house off.
Right.
Because theoretically, you pay the home off, and you can't pay the taxes. You're still taking your crib.
They can still take it. And then depending on where you are, which I remember when I first moved to Baltimore, I never heard of what was it? The land rights. There's certain parts of Baltimore where like they have these land leases that are like 90, 100 plus years old. And you might just be in like year 50 of it going on. So you could own the house, but you don't own the land that it sit on.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I know in China they do that. People don't really own the property. They lease it for 99 years or something like that. It is over there. Like developers can build a nice tower or whatever they want to do, but they don't own it. They lease it for like 99 years or something like that. Crazy. I didn't know we were doing that in America. Bro, but America's free though. We're democracy. That's right.
Yo, I was just listening to a speech by Kennedy. What was this, yesterday? And he said something about the whole like republic thing, and he was talking about how he wanted to be more transparent with the government and own the mistakes that they made. And I was listening to the speech, and I was like, damn, bro, like either he talked a good game, or he really believed what the hell he was saying. Like,
no, they really believe it. These people
I'm saying really him in particular, because there's X amount of other politicians who have been before him, during him, and after him, who they talked a good game. Case in point, on that article about the Patriot Act thing, one of the things that it reminded me of was that under Obama, there was
who was Obama?
Huh?
Who's Obama?
Bruh.
I'm joking. I'm playing.
No,
but
okay.
Under Obama, what happened now?
There are so many different things that happened under Obama that like people literally do not understand how.
One being, I'm gonna let you finish your sentence. But one being, I didn't know this until I was watching the impeachment hearings the other day. I didn't know that Obama had actually blocked aid for Ukraine. And you have to ask yourself, why would he block aid for Ukraine during a certain point? And at the same time, you had Joe Biden over there with his son doing his thing. I'm like, were they working together? Blocking quid pro Joe. That's what I call him. Quid pro Joe.
Here's a funny thing. Now, I'm not saying I am the quote, manga fan of Trump. But one of the things that gets me is that they get on him for something that every president before him has done.
That's right.
Which is let go foreign ambassadors when they choose to.
Yeah.
Obama did it to the whole damn squad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though.
Right. Just treat Trump as every other politician and president. They've all done things that may be questionable or strategic to, position themselves against the opposing party. That's normal. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? That's what politics is here in America and around the world. Actually, every country has this. I mean, it's a human thing. It's a human quality or trait that is expressed in politics.
Okay, let me. It is a human quality or trait, yes, to try to get people to be on your side and agree with what you're saying. Understandable. It's all the art of storytelling. We do it in a way that I think a lot of other countries look at and marvel, in that we have it where we'll have our like quote, front news story mistakes and like, oh, this person did this. And then it like just, goes viral all over the place in mainstream. And it goes back to the whole thing about wag the dog, like wag the dog's tail. Other countries back in, what is that? I think it's like the 70s or might have been the 80s. Like, came here, looked at our system of how we deal with news and stuff. I might be really off on a decade that it happened. But other countries like Israel, like China, like some of the European countries came and looked how we do the whole thing of freedom of press and our media. Because they were trying to figure out, how do you allow people to, quote, express themselves, but still maintain a level of control on it? And we definitely do our control in a way that a lot of people don't really understand or think that it's happening. And I'm jumping back into Obama again. So what was this? I don't remember which term it was in for him, but there was some act or some, I don't want to say bill, it was definitely beyond a bill, but there was something that came into play where it basically legalized and made it okay for certain agencies to lie to the American public about what they were doing and how things were really playing out. So basically, the government can do propaganda on its citizens. And I'm talking about the US government. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about the US government. This is like one of the umpteen things that happened under his 2-term presidency, that when I look at it within the bigger scope of like how we talk about freedom and democracy and republic and, Democrats and who, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at how we've deteriorated the rights of the citizen of this country. I feel like presidency term has just been going down, especially when you understand what rules are being put in place to undercut your rights as a citizen. Whether you want to talk about privacy, whether you want to talk about freedom of speech, whether you want to talk about property ownership, in near every category that you can think of where you were, let's say, back in, let's say, we'll go with like the 60s. I probably should go back earlier, but the point being, as a sovereign citizen with rights that like the government actually respected enough, right? Yeah. We are so far gone from that, bro. And I don't, this is one of the things I worry about as far as like my kids, right, going forward. But they're also grown up in a period where they don't understand or know none of that. They don't know nothing before the Patriot Act. They always know that the government watches everything you do electronically. That's all they know.
You know, that's dangerous. They're not taught the past, because only way you protect yourself from tyranny, from things like that, is you have to. They're in the normalcy bias. They're in the bubble, like you said. They were born in the Patriot Act post. That's all they know. So they don't. This is normal. So they don't even know to fight it. They don't even know to make it an uproar about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But eventually, they. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just gonna say. So we gotta make sure we bring this to these kids' attention, man. This is not normal for America, at least. This is not. It's not how it's supposed to be.
It's not, but this is where we are, and I think it's a part of the growing pains for, I don't want to say the return, and I definitely don't want to use like that phrase of make America great again, because then you start jumping into like, all right, let's talk about decades, or let's talk about what time period you're talking about, and let's actually like break down what was going on within economic segments, the demographics, and how did it look across the board. I've never liked that phrase, let's make America great again, when people started jumping on that bandwagon, just because the way it's being used is very generalized, and making America, quote, great again does not have the same meaning when you actually understand the history of how this country has developed across the board. It just doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, man, you know, the whole slogan "Make America Great Again" was, you know, every president got to have their little slogan and, you know, thing they run on. And I mean, I really think that he is trying to do that, but he's going to fail because the system is designed this way for him not to have true control. He only has 8. I think he's going to get in again. I hope he does. But he only has 8 years. Who can change something and influence deep state in 8 years? Unless you have a civil war, which the Dems are, man, they're pushing people toward this stuff, man. I'm like, dude, they are out of control.
I like, you know what gets me, man? Like,
we got a caller. Let's get this caller in really quickly, Trek. Caller on the line. It's your boy Crypto Blood. Got Trek as well. Talk to us.
Hey, what's going on, Crypto Blood? What's going on, guys? Man, y'all are really on fire tonight, man. I do want to say this is feeling like the actual, like, it's the coming to life of the 1984 book. And y'all are touching on everything, man, because it's like Big Brother is interjecting on everything. And it's really gotten to the point where the tentacles are being wrapped in every facet of our lifestyles. But I think it's only going to get more in depth with this whole financial situation that we're in, because as y'all already know, the central governments are going to continue lowering interest rates and going to continue injecting liquidity in these financial systems and to try to prop up this U.S. economy. Correct. I was just looking at some article not too long ago talking about how farming has slowed down, the retail consumer has slowed down, and we already know retail spending is about 2/3 of the GDP, something crazy like that. And you already got the slowdown of manufacturing. And so they're trying their best, man, to just really make the equities market look very, very good while the economy is slowly deteriorating.
Correct.
So this is the thing. The government, the central bank, because they're supposed to be independent from the government, right? No, wrong.
They are the government, man.
Central
they control
bank,
everything.
What they're going to do is they're either going to keep pumping this thing up or they're going to have to default. But even let's say if they do keep pumping this thing up and keep lowering these rates, then what's going to happen, right? Oh, man, people are going to be having a field day with the housing market. Just look at these houses, man. They're really going up in price.
They are.
But that's only because it's becoming easier and easier to get a mortgage to bid up everything. But the consumer is up to their ears in debt. What's going to happen when the consumer can't borrow anymore? And when the economy really deteriorates and jobs start to fall off, these houses are going to come crashing down, man. So anyways, I just really wanted to paint that picture for you where I think they're going to put us to a point, they're going to try to put us to a point of destitute. And then this Patriot Act and all this other stuff is really all going to make sense then. Tell me what y'all think.
I'm with you, man. Trek, what do you say? I'll let you go first.
I'm sorry, had to wet the whistle. Like like you just put like a bunch of things in there, and it's truth in that we're being set up in a situation, at least in my observation, that a lot of people are going to be left holding a bag in various things. Whether you're talking about medical debt, school debt, housing debt, you're gonna end up losing, whatever job, blah blah blah. Like, I'll give you an example of something. I don't know how many of y'all out there know about what opportunity zones are, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way that the government defines opportunity zones, it was brought in under the Jobs Act, which was also brought in under the Obama administration. And I'm not going to totally knock the Jobs Act because it allows you to do some things as a startup business that I'm working to try
Reg
to
A and all that. Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The crowdfunding mechanism is different.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm going to knock is opportunity zones. The
Mm.
intended design of opportunity zones was to have investments brought into more low income areas, and you see it generally happen in the real estate side. And the idea was that you could invest in these developing areas and neighborhoods, and then that would allow for more job growth because more jobs would be able to be put in the area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, it is a very big difference between what is the intended purpose of any kind of designer or creator's intention and what happens when you put it out into the wild, and then the people start saying, all right, well, here's how I'm going to use this. Case in point, opportunity zones are being used as tax shelters for rich people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. The entire state of Louisiana is a opportunity zone. Let that shit sink in. The entire state. Not New Orleans, not some other city, the whole state, right? Yet, unemployment in that state has not gone down since it's been designated an opportunity zone. Like, if you're telling me tons or millions, hundreds of millions of money is able to come into this place, and not just a city, I'm talking about a state, and do development and do, economic enrichment and all that fun stuff, how is it that your unemployment isn't going down? Because that's not what the money's being used for. Like, that's the bottom line.
And the issue is that it comes back to this, man. Who writes the laws? The ones in power, the ones with the money. So there's an incentive for them to create loopholes, which they always, every time there's a loophole. There's always an exit for them.
Opportunity zones are good for 10 years tax shelter.
Yeah, there's always. And so I had a guest on. I've been following him for many years, Gerald Salente. Had him on last, I think about a week and a half ago or something like that. And he talked about, direct democracy. Direct democracy. We need that. And it can be implemented through blockchain. But I don't think it ever will be, man. Like, because if they allow us to have direct democracy, it takes away their power, because now it's black and white. Either a person voted on the blockchain for XYZ to happen, or they didn't. There's
no more anonymous votes, bro. No more anonymous votes. Like, that should be the next lobby move right there. Like, no more anonymous.
It should be, but guess what? The operative word you just said was lobbying. And we talked. I think you brought it up on Twitter earlier this week or last week about voting. About voting, right? Mm-hmm. What did I say? I said, dummies vote. The smart ones lobby.
Right. Bro, like, going forward, if you come at me about you should vote because you're for. No,
man.
No.
Don't work.
Because that's
like
what got
that.
us where we still are right now.
Exactly. And this is not just for black people. This is for all people. That this issue of lobbyists, that whole game over in Washington D.C. I don't know, man. It's pretty sad, man. But caller dropped off. I thank him for calling. Thank you for calling in, man. And regarding to the real estate, I mean, I don't know. I think we're gonna have a melt up, and it's just gonna drop off a cliff. But when does that happen? Do we, do we still see another 10 years of? I mean, we may have another crash, a mini crash, in the Dow. But ultimately, I think they're just going to keep throwing stuff, monetary trickery at us, at the market, to keep that thing going up and up and up. Like, I see us hitting Dow 40,000, very soon, within 12 months, easily. Caller on the line.
What's going on?
Caller, you there?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, man.
Hey, it's JJ, man. You guys are awesome, man.
What's up, JJ? Thanks for calling in.
You guys were just talking about lobbying dollars and all that stuff, and just wanted to point in. I've been tweeting you some stuff. I'm an anarchist, but
okay,
and I put a big but on there because I'm probably going to be a little selfish this year because I'm probably going to vote for Andrew Yang. The reason being, and the reason I say this is because I care about my people. And, like, when I know I can get $1,000 into every black person's hand in, like, the greater American country, like, man, I can't say no to that because I know that will fucking help. And, it helped me.
The problem is,
money too, so.
The problem is, JJ, is...
No, it devalues the dollar, 100%.
No, what it does is it's a very temporary solution, because all it does is UBI and printing money and giving people, which I would say is a better solution than what we have, because what did we do in 2008-9? We printed money and gave it to the banks. Yeah, we print,
exactly.
But and
that's one of my big points is. Yeah, exactly. We need to give it to us.
Exactly. Like, so both solutions don't work long term. But hell, if you're gonna print some money, you need to give it to the people.
And I've been kind of thinking about it like this way. Like, shit, I work my ass off every single day, and I keep looking at my paychecks. I'm like, man, what the fuck? There's 20% gone, but I ain't getting none back.
Yeah.
So I mean, shit. If I'm paying in, I might as well get some back too. And another thing on that lobbying stuff, one of the things that like the UBI didn't really get me, but when he started talking about freedom dollars, basically saying, hey, we're gonna make everybody have $100 that you can spend on somebody campaigning. Dude, you know how much that would change the black community? Man, we would have black presidents in no time. It would be the game changer.
I don't know about all that, but when you said that, you know what I thought of, right? Dave Chappelle skit. When I don't know what happened, but anyway, people, like, everybody in the black community got money, like, airdrop, and then we were buying Cadillacs, and we were making
I'm just saying that would
boom.
Hey, the S&P would be pumping then. It keep going.
But it will pump. See, that's the thing, man. The trickle down effect does not work. It only works for the people that get the money first. You see what I'm saying? It only works.
No, 100%.
It only works for the people that get it first. So it works both ways. But see, they want it to work for them first, then we get it. Versus if you do a UBI, we benefit from those fresh dollars first, and we cause the inflation. But it doesn't. It goes the other way around. The people at the top are affected last.
Yeah, exactly.
And the dollars
they probably
are worth less.
They probably not gonna allow that.
No, hell no, they're not gonna allow that. Hell no. That's never gonna happen, man. So I mean, that's why I don't think the Andrew Yang thing is all cool and dandy, but at the end of the day, it's unrealistic strategy to run on, and in this framework, in this political framework that we were in America, it just won't work, and he won't win. Hillary and them will just, you know how they do.
That's kind of what I'm waiting on. I'm kind of waiting to see that. Like the shit he's been saying, but
let me throw this one out there. And this is somebody I'm gonna preface this with, I am not a fan of the UBI.
Me either. I'm not either.
I don't pay enough attention to Andrew Yang and his stance.
Andrew Yang want to get rid of guns too. I ain't with that.
I'm definitely not for you.
I can't vote for you on that one, bro. You know where Trek and I live. We live in Detroit and Baltimore. We need guns. You ain't getting rid of my guns, bro. Sorry. But go ahead, Trek.
So on the end of look at it this way, because like one of the things I've learned as I've gotten older as an adult is about the whole thing of how the political strategy game works out, right? And they plan these things out pretty far in advance on how you push certain talking points and like certain people and blah blah blah. And just throwing it out there, and take it if you take it, don't if you don't. But I look at Andrew Yang as a like, okay, let's put in a new face that sounds like they're saying something different in the intro. And then once we get to a certain point, we're either going to have to work to like divide and break the base, because you know it's about who takes the numbers once they start getting closer to the actual the run up for the vote. And then they start pushing off the extra people. It's like, all right, we'll take your 5% of the people who are going to vote for you, and then we'll take your like 2% over here. So he could just be a divisive tool on some real shit.
Yeah, JJ.
100%.
If you want to stay on, you can. I got another caller. If you want to stay
No,
on,
go for it.
Okay, 1 second.
How's it going, guys?
Caller on the line. It's your boy Crypto Blood. We got Trek off the chain. This topic is off the chain.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on, bro?
This is Todd.
Todd.
Wanted to thank Crypto Blood for all the information that comes out of this channel, and wanted to thank your guest for coming on and dropping knowledge. I kind of wanted to go at the latest caller, JJ. I mean, Andrew Yang, I mean, can't you see that this country is being taken over by internationalists, and that all the things that he's talking about is like the international agenda? I mean, it's kind of a slippery slope. I mean, you really don't know where we're going with all that. But I mean, I would gonna kind of take it back to some of the crypto stuff. Like, what do you think about, 100K Bitcoin? What do you see happening with the halving? I mean, like, because I mean, there's a lot of people that are kind of waiting with bated breath to see, like, is Bitcoin gonna die? Like, it won't go to zero for me, because like I'll always be buying. But where do you guys see it going? Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely,
I'm gonna
man.
let you have fun with that, CB.
Yeah, thanks for calling in on that one. Where do 100K Bitcoin? Nah, man, it's not happening. Not before the halving, I don't think, without any type of extreme shock to the system, without a black swan. I don't see that really happening between now and May. If you take a historical look at the halving and the effect it has on Bitcoin, each one, it incrementally has a less impact on the actual price of Bitcoin. So the last one I think made Bitcoin double. The one before that, I think it did like 2x, like 3x or something, like 4x. It did 4x. And so as we sequentially go through these halvings, it's going to have less of an impact. And my prediction is this next halving will only make Bitcoin go up 50 to 60% from wherever the market begins to price in, start that price in mechanism, that future price pricing of the asset. I think it will only go up 50 to 60%. So 100,000, are we going to get to 50, 60,000 by before then? No, I don't think so, man. So, but it really doesn't matter, man. Like, it's the technology, it's the idea that we now have a currency that no central bank owns. That's the powerful thing. Price, yeah, we want to make more money, of course, but the technology is the blessing in this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So price, I don't think it's going to get to 100,000 by the halving. And I don't really care, to be honest with you. I just want to see continual adoption. I want to see privacy coins becoming more popular and integrated within different frameworks within the crypto industry, because that's a whole nother battle we can talk about, Trek, as far as how they are marginalizing these privacy coins. There's going to be a point in the very near future where every exchange, especially in the United States, will not, you're not going to, and it's already happening, you're not going to be able to have any privacy coins, none of that stuff, bro.
All right, so I'm gonna jump on this last thing the dude brought up.
Yeah.
As far as the price thing goes, right? I'm a tech over price person, and I've been in the space long enough to know, trying to figure out, whether you're using FA or TA. That's CB's lane right there. I'm not a trader dude. I'm not a market watcher dude. I know what my lane is, and it is not either one of those. So I don't make any kind of price prediction on any of it. If you told me that it was 10K right now, I'd be like, oh, word, that's great. If you told me it was 3K, I'm like, oh, damn, all right, well, all right. For me, I've been at this long enough now that I've gotten past that whole, like, what's the price today? I remember I had that period of where I was doing it, like, oh, let me check out what it is. And that was like so 2016 for me, right? And I say that to say, like, I'm not saying money's a bad thing. I'm just saying at this point, I'm beyond just talking about price speculation. That's just me, though. On the other thing that you was just talking about, CB, with the privacy coins, I totally agree that we are at a technological development right now. Well, we are at a point within this legislation and this legal environment of, like, what is privacy? What is your actual control of things that are emitted from you, things that you use, which what's the name of that organization? The EEF. They just had a case one where a judge, I think it was in PA, I forgot what court level it was, but there was a situation that just happened where a judge agreed that I think it was like no, it wasn't the TSA, that was another article. But basically, like, passwords, you have a certain level of privacy to that stuff now. And the law has to respect that as far as how they go through looking for certain information on you. Like, you can't just, like, be at the airport and, like, all right, hand over your phone, let's start going through your shit. I forgot what the article was exactly. I read it like maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, but
Todd, Todd, how do you feel about privacy coins, and do you hold any? Are you more kind of, and it's fine, and be honest with me, are you more of a person that's more concerned about the price? Because I mean, it absolutely matters, especially if you've got some skin in the game and you want to be able to extract some profit from this industry, from this, let us know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, privacy coins, I don't know about that, because it seems like a lot of the privacy coins are centralized. So, I mean, you got that whole trilateral thing with the whole centralized. I'm not going to get into all that. You can look all that stuff up if you need to know. But I mean, privacy, I really don't see that. I think that as, like, Puritan values and certain things like that fall off by the wayside. I mean, what do you really need privacy from? I mean, like, or what are you consuming that you need privacy from?
Come on, Ty. Wait a minute, bro. Hold on, Ty. Wait a minute, bro.
Whoa.
Whoa. Come on, big fella.
Bro.
I know. I'm going metaphysics. I'm going deep. I mean,
I love it.
So basically,
as these laws that are used to, disenfranchise individuals, like, as they drop off, like, it doesn't matter if you want to be that person that buys X, Y, or Z, you really don't need privacy for that, So it's like, but yes, there are certain things, if you want to be able to move geographically, you don't want to get taxed here and then tax going into this other country. So, I mean, it is a concern, but I think that, the individual will always kind of be ahead of the institution. And, if you educate yourself and you're able to kind of, stay a couple steps ahead, I think that privacy is one of those things that people that are really trying to do those nefarious things, they're looking. I mean, when you see the crimes that are committed with Bitcoin, it's not, I'm not even going to go into all that stuff. I just want to say that,
Right.
like, what do you need privacy for? Like, what is privacy? Like, there is no privacy. Like, there is no privacy. Like, the assumed privacy is I don't see it. I don't see any privacy. I don't see any privacy in any sort of life. Like,
on privacy right now, we're talking financial privacy. You have personal privacy as far as like your personal information, which can be separate from your financial information, which can be separate from your thoughts. There are literally arguments going on in academia right now in legal circles talking about how private are your thoughts. Okay, so when you say, oh, well, what do you need privacy for? You just literally threw out the umbrella word of privacy and was like, well, what do you need it for? It applies in many different ways on how you exist and what you understand about how you're able to relate to people and know what's going on with them, and as well as just how you function. Okay,
Yeah,
if privacy,
there has to be, like, you can't open that. I mean, once we pass that threshold of privacy and what that is for an individual, then everything is open for anything. So there has to be that sacred threshold that no government should be able to pass, whether it's for, it doesn't have to be for nefarious reasons. We should be able to have some level of privacy. And if you don't think that, I mean, it's totally your choice, Todd. But I think you should definitely maybe look at.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, what are you saying that you need? Do you need privacy for your health records? Do you need privacy? I mean, because if you're right, if it's electronic, I mean, it's not private. I mean, anything that you make electronic is not private. And basically, it depends on how far you want to go into what technologies are out there, and you want to think that when you're talking with your friends in a quiet room that's private. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say that's not private. If you want to talk about like what you're looking at on the internet in terms of what that shows what your brain is thinking about, is that private? No, I mean, your thoughts are not private. I mean, nothing kind of today in today's world. What do you?
I guess my thing, Todd, is we shouldn't be talking about necessarily. The argument isn't necessarily what the current state is; it's what it should be. If that makes sense. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, we barely have any privacy nowadays, and that's a problem. That's what we're saying, and that's what cryptocurrencies. The operative word is cryptography. That's what crypto is about. It's about anonymity. It's about having that capability, which that potential is harvested. It's there. It's there for us to have that, and that's what this whole industry is about, man. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead?
Let me frame it this way. And I heard this a while back, right? Privacy isn't I don't want to tell you nothing, whether you're another person or you're a government or you're law enforcement, whatever, right? Privacy is the ability to practice when I want to share something with you as the other person or my government in regards to having to deal with paying taxes. Okay, here's how much money I spent. Here's the proportion that goes to you to deal with all your fun stuff that you're supposed to take care of as a government. That's the privacy part of having that ability to choose when and what you share, right? Now, granted, the technology within this whole first tier thing and like living in the modern day world has made it that you can a lot more easily tap into people's conversations. They're tracing what they do and things like in that nature. Not saying no to that. like CB said, we're talking about what it should be in regards to like privacy by design. People actually understanding the distinction between like, I'll give another perfect example. Opening up a bank account now is like a 20-step questionnaire process to opening a checking account now compared to what it was like 5-10 years ago. And
so Todd, let me ask you this, man. So what was your motivation in getting into cryptocurrencies? Maybe we should kind of start there.
That's kind of a loaded question. I would really, to answer that, I would really want to think about that. I mean, right off the top of my head, I would say independence. When I really got into this,
that's privacy. Come on, Todd.
Well, now there's a difference between independent. I didn't come on here to debate with you, CB, because I support you, man. You're the man. You got a lot of knowledge. I don't want to
No. We're having a conversation.
I want to hear from you guys, because I want to hear from you guys. I said what I had to say against Andrew Yang, because I think internationalists are taking over this country. And I mean, I'm not against Andrew Yang. I worked in the energy industry, and so like I see this big name, hyping Andrew Yang and everybody jumping on this wagon, and it's like, you guys don't realize that, hey, like, the internationalists, like, there's a few things in this country that are keeping us from literally being like, I'm jumping up on a soapbox. So CB, I want to hear from you, man. Like, you are who I want to hear. But I think one thing I want to say is, what do you think about the whole Cliff High thing and like all his boys and the whole Big Swear situation and all that stuff? Like, I'll say, I'd like to, send my condolences to Big Swear and, just like the whole camp, like, what do you think? Like, cause they kind of, I won't say they kind of led us astray, but I'd say kind of like, there's a lot of people that are in that camp that are kind of, not where we want to be. And like, where do you think things are going with that? And I'm going to end it, and I'm going to listen to this, on the line. And I really appreciate you, CB, man. You really are somebody with that whole, when you did the Max Kaiser event, man, like that was really inspiring, man. Like, to think like, brother, man, like, you brought Max Kaiser out, like he is a visionary, he is a revolutionary. I really think, man, I want you to like link up with Jeff Berwick, man. Like, he is someone that's really like leading the way and big ups, man.
I'll definitely,
one more name I want to drop out there. Catherine Austin Fitt. Catherine Austin Fitt.
Yeah, she's good.
Please, for anyone who's listening right now, like, this is probably going to cost me, and like, there's going to be things I'm going to have to, repercussions from me talking on this and me speaking out and whatnot and stuff like that. And that's always the thing. It's like, there's always a response to whatever the things that we do. So it's like, as I say these things, I'm going to have to pay for them. So it's like,
we're just, listen, Todd, we're having a conversation.
It's a spiritual war. It's a spiritual warfare. And it's like, it's going to be going on. Like, you're going to have to protect yourself. It's not something, this isn't a joke. This isn't a game. Like, but I'm going to listen to you, CB, because you're kind of leading the way, man.
Okay, Todd, man, I appreciate. Hey, I welcome, different and opposing ideas. That's how if I can argue my position, I help strengthen my stance on it, or I can learn something from your point of view, because I mean, I really want to know. So appreciate the call in, and I'll definitely touch on the whole Cliff High thing here. I mean, Cliff, it is what it is, bro. Like, stuff went
and I'm sorry to just jump in, but the whole Reggie Middleton thing. So I mean, like, look, you got to kind of see
Todd,
how, like,
you're throwing like 9 questions at me, bro. I know.
We gotta
bring this
disproportionate. This brings the whole race thing, and that's really what I want to, like. That's why I kind of want to attack the privacy thing. It's because it's like, I feel like this is kind of a way for Black people to kind of elevate themselves, but like, you gotta kind of do things in a certain way. Like, I don't know. Thank you, CB. Thank you for everything, man. Thank you.
Okay, Todd. Thanks for calling in, bro. Call in again.
Mm. Hey, I always welcome those. So, whatever you want to run with on this one next, bro. 'Cause,
I had
all
to let,
right.
I had to let off a couple rounds on that one, bro. Todd, man, I don't know, Todd. You may be, smoking one. I don't. Todd, call back in next week, and we're gonna try this again, bro. We're gonna try this again. But he's got his opinion about Andrew Yang. I personally don't. I'm not with the UBI. Him taking guns away. It's real. I don't know, man. Like, and here's the thing. Like, I'm not like totally ears closed to the whole socialist movement. Like, I follow my man Richard Wolf, Democracy at Work. I follow his work a lot just to get a glimpse into the whole Marxist new neo-socialism movement, because it's not there. It gets so deep, man, because I think a lot of people think of socialism, they think of Nazi, they think of Stalin, they think of, that whole aspect of socialism. Nazi means nationalist, but it's deeper than that. In the neo-socialism movement, which I would probably think Andrew Yang, you guys in the chat room kind of help me out. I would think he kind of falls on that side of things, but I don't know. I'm not with it, bro. I'm not fully with it, because there are pros and cons and gives and takes, and I don't think implementing, like, in real life, that type of regime, that type of structure would not be conductive for America. I just don't think so. It's almost like ICOs. Like, on paper, stuff sounds real good. White paper, oh, that sounds great. But implementing it, i.e. Cardano, on paper, it sounds great. Oh, yeah. Great.
Wait, didn't they just connect up with somebody?
New
something
Balance. Oh, on Africa? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's all about implementation and real world implementation of those thoughts and ideas and the execution of it. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think it'll turn out well.
One of the articles you sent me, the Tezos joint, when you talk about implementation.
Yeah, let's talk about Tezos.
And that utility. So I read the article and I was like, so this is really just a PR piece because of the way it flowed. And the stuff is really just about the business connections that they made. They got the French government using their thing, and I forgot what not the French government, but like a police department is using their thing.
Yeah, French military police
have found
a use case for Tezos blockchain. Furthermore, Coinbase Custody has extended its Tezos staking service to all global clients. Tezos has been on a tear lately, as you guys can see on the screen. I don't follow this one, man. I don't know. What about you? Do you follow this project like that? It's one of Cliff High's pick. It is one of Cliff High's picks.
When I read the article, to me, it came off as a marketing article. Like, this was a placement piece. Hey, because the way it flowed, and the way they described what it was being implemented in, or what they were making a connection in, as far as Tezos and the French military. And I would actually question that whole connection right there, because it's like, wait a minute, y'all doing the whole budget, or y'all just doing like a certain segment of the military budget? Because there's no way you're doing the whole budget. Like, you can't just we're gonna just put it into play in year one. Like, nah, we got like a whole stringent process for even like switching how we're gonna start collecting and logging the accounting side of the stuff going on. So that particular part of it, I really had a lot of more questions about. But the overall piece itself is really just a PR announcement.
Yeah, it looks like they've linked up with Singapore's first government-supported platform, Tezos Southeast Asia. The acronym is TSA. That's not good.
I thought that was funny.
Okay, all right.
bro. Like, oh man, I'm telling you,
Oh, bro.
it just reads as a PR piece, and they're doing like a sideways price pump. Like they're trying to ride that wave on
Oh,
the
they're
price
doing a
pump.
stellar.
Yeah.
You know, Stellar burns half their coins out of nowhere and just like, let's get
Hey.
some price appreciation really quick. Oh, let's just go ahead and delete half the supply and see what happens.
Yeah.
Man, we need more. And this goes for every blockchain out there. I mean, EOS to me is at the forefront, but even EOS can't. I mean, there's no DApp out there that's really crushing it, like that's really bringing adoption. And I'm starting to think that it's not the actual blockchains. It's the lack of interest. We don't have anyone to really get to you. You know, we don't have anyone who we've piqued enough interest in to really just say we're going all in on this. And I'm wondering why.
All right. I'm gonna just like spitball some stuff on this one. I don't pay attention to EOS as much as you do. And I think that for where we are right now, as far as like the dApps and adoption, do you remember, oh God, what is his name? Jackson Palmer?
Yes.
All
That's
right.
dope. Is that Doge? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he had this website that he made that basically was tracking like the dApps in the space. Yeah. And the other day, I forgot who I was talking to. I was like, "Oh, let me go look for the site." He took all his stuff down. Like it seems like he totally left the crypto space.
What about my man that you said the site I used to go to as well? Are we decentralized yet.com?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, that's Jackson
him.
Palmer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his stuff.
That's him.
That's some. Hey, man, that is.
Those are two dope sites, bro.
I gotta put my tinfoil hat on that one. What is this? Some tri-collateral commission? What is going on, man? Like, why was that site taken down? That was a very good site to illustrate how centralized. That's a little weird, bro. That's like a little weird.
Closed out. The other two sites closed out, and I was like, wow, like he just literally just ghosted out the whole thing. Okay, you can do what you want to do. I thought he really did good content. My point to where I was going though was that within this whole thing of like how we're looking at dApps and how the adoption part is working out, I don't know if it's a thing in regards to being able to, like how the modern gaming industry is right now, like video games, like we're talking to, EA, we're talking like the whole PlayStation, what's the other one? The Xbox.
We got Strata, got Stratia or Strata coming out from Google.
So like the platforms and the manufacturers that are like the main headline ones, and then we have our side of folks.
Stadia.
Looking to get in, but we're over here trying to do this whole, like, honestly, I think that X amount of the games and the way that they're set up right now, like we aren't developed with games at the point that, it's a Fortnite, like, because like you got like, what is it, Steam Monsters, and there's a couple of other ones. Like Ken is really good at this. If you don't know who Ken Bosek is, he does X amount of live streaming on certain games that he played that are blockchain based games, right? Mm-hmm. But what gets me is like, I know for me personally, if there were games that were on that, like let's say Fortnite or like Mario Kart or that level, or like oh my god, like what is
I mean, there's one, I know there's one on EOS called Prospectors that's pretty cool, but and EOS is probably the closest to really aligning with a lot of these major corporations as far as like Ubisoft and Ultra Blockchain. I think Ubisoft, they call it UL.
They just connected with somebody on some
Ultra.
Was it Ultra?
Yeah, which is a Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin, EOS based chain.
Okay, yeah, you did talk about that this week, right? That was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
okay.
But it's a
Yeah,
test. It's a test run. I don't know, man. I think EOS 2.0 will definitely be ready for like massively scaled up capacity for gaming. But
like I think the other thing too that gets it is for the companies that are already the dominant participants in this space. They want to do probably more of the like we want to have it be our own thing organically, blah blah blah, right? Which then brings you back to what having a private coin, a private token, which was the whole thing that you were kind of trying to get away from if you're talking about like traditional cryptos, right? Yes, no.
mm-hmm.
I mean, so then you get into the whole thing of like, I can't do anything of it outside of this gaming platform or this particular game, right? And if we take it back to the Mt. Gox days, like we already had an environment that allowed us to swap out different things. Because remember, Mt. Gox was originally a gamers exchange.
Yep.
So we have an example of what you can do, like put down the borders, put down the walls, and like, hey, PlayStation, hey, Google, what y'all gonna do? Hey, like the different you can definitely make more. And I honestly,
But
and I thought
the thing is, bro, what I'm realizing is that like we see Stadia coming out, right? That's a fully cloud-based gaming platform, right? Is there going to be a need for like that's the direction they're going with the gaming, and how and if or does blockchain even integrate with that? How do we benefit from that? Like I know Wax is trying to do a lot of stuff, but my fear is that all of these mega corporations, your Xboxes, Microsoft, Sony, Google with Stadia, what incentive is there for them to use a publicly run blockchain versus just using a privately run one, if they even need to? Because a privately run blockchain to me is counterintuitive. Just use Amazon AWS or Hadoop or whatever, whatever you want to.
I don't even support the whole AWS thing because like if you tell me your blockchain is open, is a public blockchain, and then you tell me to follow it up with is on AWS, I'm straight laughing at you. Like that's not open. Anywho, but where I was going is I would argue I'm a real believer when it comes to like the whole design tech thing. If you don't have to redesign the wheel, don't recreate the wheel. If
So
it's already something.
That's my question, Trek. Like, are we with blockchain trying to reinvent a wheel that doesn't need to be reinvented for corporate scale, like on the corporate level, maybe on the peer-to-peer?
On the corporate scale, I think that we have an application as far as blockchain is concerned when it comes to the storage of data. Because at the end of the day, it's just about data storage, right? But for how the system is like put together is like as far as how it's, the inner workings of it, right? It's set up to work in silos, as opposed to being able to have that cross connection, or what do we call it, the I don't want to say chain swap, but the basic idea being is I'll probably say we're just not at that point where the big corps actually get how they can still survive. They can still make, X amount of their money with having more open source based technologies at their that they develop on, right? As opposed to continually looking to do the whole like, oh, we got to have the proprietary technology, and then we got to worry about licensing, and then we got to worry about having a whole sustainment team for that project, and blah blah blah. That's just my thought on it. But you know,
Gotcha.
I'm not a business person, so
Yeah, I don't know, man. This guy Greg.
I need to read it.
I don't know. Can you see the chat, bro? This guy Greg said Obama is the Antichrist. Man,
I'm
people
not.
are hilarious, bro.
Yo.
I ain't going that far. I didn't particularly care for the guy as a president. But Antichrist.
That's kind of heavy right there, Greg. That's kind of heavy.
That's kind of heavy, bro. Wow.
I don't think he's gonna be the worst one. That's my thing. I think X amount of things were able to be pushed in under him, but I don't think he's the worst one.
Nah, he wasn't the worst one. Do I know? I don't know, man. I like Trump, bro. Like, I know people. He's different. He's different. That's what people are scared of. He's a breath of fresh air to me. Like, what president calls in to Fox News and just has a conversation with them? Like, yo, he changing the game, bro. The Twitter game, the Twitter fingers. He's changing the game, man. He's trying. I mean, I love it, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. I love it, and I think he is a watershed moment for potential president candidacies in the future. Presidential candidates.
So I'm gonna say it this way, right? When we look at like the quote, "Who was a good president?" There's different criterias that we could judge this by. For me, one of those things would be, how are my civil rights? How are my rights as a citizen affected? That's just me, one of my criterias. And then in regards to Trump and what he has done now for how you can run a campaign and how you can act as president, I'm still amazed that people are getting on Trump for the things that he's doing when Bush 2 vice president was doing things that was straight outside of his lane.
Oh my God.
Like,
Cheney was a dog.
Bro,
If Obama's
he shot somebody in the face and then had them apologize.
Man, if Obama is the Antichrist, what do we label Cheney?
Bro.
That guy.
Bro, like I'm telling you, like I look at this situation.
Halliburton, all that whole thing, man.
APR. Yeah,
man. I think he was actually behind. I don't even blame W. Bush. I didn't have a problem with W. Bush, to be honest with you.
Hey, Bush gave everybody money. Everybody
did. He gave people money. He was a little ditzy up there, but I think Cheney hijacked and was actually running the White House, man. And Trump and W. Bush didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole, when 9/11 happened, he was reading the book with the kids. He looked like he was shocked. He didn't look like he was like, it didn't seem like to me he was like, yeah. Like, give him the Jordan fist, like, yeah, we did. I didn't see that. I saw a person with the upside down book looking discombobulated and just, I didn't see, you know what I'm saying? And I think it was all Cheney, man.
Bro,
the deep state.
The marketing behind him was ingenious, bro. Like, you literally put somebody on that just had no idea about any of the stuff that he was going to end up dealing with.
We got a caller. Call on the line. It's your boy Crypto Blood and Trek off the chain. What's going on?
What's up, man? It's John Hill, man.
John Hill. What's the word, bro?
Yeah, I'm just jumping on here. Y'all talking crazy up in here, man.
Oh, man, come on, man. Do I have to bring out the guns on you too? Like, Todd, where my guns? Let me lock and load my gun. What you got to say, John? You got two of the.
Nah, man.
Hey, you got two cats from two of the most violent cities in this country. What's going on, man?
Thanks for hearing me, but no, y'all sit here talking about politics and stuff like that, and how relates to crypto and stuff like that. I really, at this point, the only correlation I see is, the government shutting it down.
Crypto?
I don't see like what's that?
Crypto?
Yeah, crypto. Like that's the only thing you got to worry about as far as the government. Because honestly, none of these candidates that gang is talking about it, and he has no shot. And
even if he had a shot, bro, the Clintons are going to sabotage him like they did Bernie Sanders in the last election.
I think Bernie was
go,
but you know.
What'd you say, Trek?
I think Bernie was playing BS from the get-go.
What you mean?
No, he didn't think he was gonna win. Then when he realized
I'm saying
when he realized,
Bernie was on the BS from the get-go. He was talking a good game, and then when Trump started saying certain stuff about calling out Hillary, he like publicly like switched how he was talking.
No, bro. If you remember, I don't know if you remember when he lost, he was about to sue. He was trying to, and so he went and met with Obama, and Obama was like, just pipe down. Obama talked him out of suing the DNC for rigging that joint, man. He was pissed.
Hey, here's what I know. He had the opportunity on TV to say something, and then he straight up publicly acknowledged her side. And then what was it, like a month or two later, all of a sudden his wife had issues with her school up in like New Hampshire or something. And I was like, oh, you messed up. Somebody pulled your card somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. That's what I agree with you then, that he got his card pulled and a tap on the shoulder for sure. But, you know, I don't know. But as far as John Hill, the crypto banning, Bitcoin, that's
I was just making that point. Like,
go ahead.
I was just making that point that everybody talks about, you know, I know the election and stuff is coming up, but really, that's really the only thing when it comes to the government with any of these administrations is which administration is going to really clamp down on you know the whole space. And I mean, as far as like politics goes, you know, you're talking about how you like saw the market just melting up. I kind of agree with you to a point.
Mm-hmm.
I think things will keep going up until, you know, everybody notices, you know, well, not everybody. I think until the people with capital, like the game can't be played anymore. When people start to realize, like maybe a small minority start to realize like what's going on, then I think that's when reality will set in, and you'll start to see like a downturn, not only, you know, just in the real economy, but also in the stock market. But and I honestly, I think that's going to be sooner rather than later. But yeah, that was just a few points I had as far as like, you know, which I was talking about. But
so do you think the government will ban like crypto or Bitcoin at some point, or attempt to? Because they haven't yet. They haven't even attempted to. They're just trying to legislate it to, you know, to death.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to,
I think it depends on who gets in. I think really honestly, your boy Trump is probably going to get in, depending on who the Democratic nominee is. If it's anybody but Bernie,
got 100.
Yeah, but if it's Bernie, he'll landslide Trump.
Hell no.
What?
Hell no.
Oh,
you want to bet?
Wait a minute, dog.
You want to bet?
Hold on. Hold on, bro.
No. I don't pay that much attention. But no. Like, no.
Bernie gonna landslide.
Listen. The same way y'all laughing right now is the same way people were laughing when I was saying Trump was going to win in 2016. I betted on it and made money off of that. Politics, you might be, more in the technical side, but politics that's like my forte. Like that's what I know.
Whoa, he said stay in your lane. He said stay in your lane, Trey.
All right,
like I heard a few callers call in, and they're just all over the place with their points.
because they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm just not to disrespect or anything like that, but it just is what it is. It's like you can hear what it is. Like they don't know what they're talking about. They're going to crypto. They're going to politics. They don't even make a coherent argument. They're just all over the place. That's why I kind of called in. I was like, y'all talking about.
So John, tell us why and I think you're playing it in a way strategically because you know that Bernie won't even get that opportunity. But aside from that, tell us why you think that if Bernie gets the run at Trump, that he's going to win.
Because it's simple. He appeals to people that don't vote. If you look at the statistics of who votes, it's when it comes to Democrat Republicans, that people that identify as Democrat Republicans, you're not going to sway them that much to vote for the opposite party. Like people basically that identify as a Democrat, identify as a Republican, they're going to vote, that party line. Now with Bernie, he energizes people that don't vote, that don't identify either party, that are more independent. I think one of the cases I can show you is during the 2016 primary in Michigan. He was down 30. I think he was down like 30% in the polls with registered Democrats, and he actually won that primary by I think 3%. And Michigan is as you should know, I believe it's open primary, so independents can vote. So those are the things to me, if he was the nominee, and I'm glad as you said, if he got in, because I don't think he's going to get out. I think he's going to get sabotaged again.
Yeah, I think so too.
But if he got in, it would be a landslide. It would be 40 plus state win. It wouldn't be close. And
okay, who do you think is going to? Who do you think from the Dem side is going to be that main person? Because I agree with you, Bernie's I think going to get sabotaged.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think they have that candidate because Biden, I think he's going to drop out before, probably after Super Tuesday. I thought he would drop out. He's not even he's gone. He can't even speak.
Dude, Biden.
He's got dementia. He needs to drop out. Warren's weak. I think the only way she would beat Trump is the economy crash. And the corporate Dems don't like her. But she's fake, and she's really just taking all of Bernie's talking points and then spinning it her way.
She's like an ICO. She's like an ICO from 2017. Take the white paper.
She's trying to be. She's trying to be crafty, but she's trash, man. If you paying attention, you'll see right through her.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I wrote her off when she said she was Indian, bro.
Yeah,
you dollar Indian thing.
That is
contract.
That is her.
I said the dollar Indian.
Yeah.
Okay. See.
Yeah, it's a mess, man.
She has no shot, though.
Yeah.
The Pete Buttigieg dude, he has no shot because he can't get. Oh, go ahead.
Who did you say?
The Pete Buttigieg or the mayor dude, he has no shot. They're trying. The media is right now trying to put him up as a legitimate candidate. And then you have all the other no names like Kamala. You got Booker and all them, Yang and Gabbard and all them. None of them have a shot. That's why Bloomberg is entering the race.
Oh, I forgot about Biden Bloomberg. Yes, Bloomberg.
Yeah, that's why because Biden's going to drop out at some point, and Bloomberg is going to try to fill that role.
Yeah,
but as I said, I
ain't gonna be able to do it either, bro. Bloomberg is he running independent again, or is he running Dem? He's running independent, right?
He's running Dem.
Yeah. That's exactly why he's entering. Wow.
Yeah. I'm telling behind the scenes right now, they're talking about who's going to replace Joe. Because he can't
Joe.
make He can't even complete a full sentence. He's gone. Mentally, he's gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. But I'm telling you right now, if Bernie gets in, I'm willing to put down money on that bet.
I think Trust Truth in the chat room said Bernie needs to replace he needs a new heart. That's what Trust Truth said. Man, y'all are brutal, man. Y'all are brutal. Yeah, I don't know, man. But as far as the crypto, getting back to the crypto thing, so can they ban it though? I think we never got to your answer on that. Can they ban Bitcoin?
They can attack it. I don't think they can outright, try to confiscate it. You can't do that, but you can attack it, and I think that would be the approach. And I'm only, depending on like how big, how the adoption comes about, which is not happening, and that's why a lot of these coins are like going to die.
Let's talk about that, John. You're OG too. We got 3 OGs on the line right now.
2012, man.
2012, John Hill. I got in 2013. Trek.
I'm back then too. Like the 2012.
Yeah, so we got OGs on the line here. So you're gonna get a different perspective on everything. Hill, why haven't we seen the adoption yet? It's a disappointment, and I want your honest opinion and assessment on why we haven't had that.
I think it's simple. I think most of these projects have been pumping dumps. And what I mean by that is they go from a top-down approach. So like you'll have the VC will back this coin and this team, people that can actually, they're good devs and everything, but they're trying to attract big money to get their, coins on exchanges, to get, more marketing. I don't think any project has gone from like a bottom up approach, like have basically got like a grassroots kind of, usage. Everybody just tries to every coin, it just, they have their promotion. I think the other dude that's on the line, on with you, he was saying how that report from Tezos was, like a PR, like a announcement. And that's to me, all it is, what I call a pump dump is if you traded penny stocks before, this is how kind of the same psychology where you have, the news wire come out and we're partnering with this company and it, they'll pump up the price 30%. And then the noobs come in and buy it up should I buy, and they buy it up and then it dumps down 50%. To me, it's more like a penny stock.
What I'm hearing though, and when I hear everyone talking about it, and I think what I'm trying to extract and maybe highlight more so, we've been blaming the projects, right, for so long. This project is because they're not doing this or this and that. But is it that the demand isn't there? Should we be looking at the other side of the train tracks? Should we be looking at why the demand isn't there and talking about the end user? They're not coming in.
You got to create that demand. You got to create that incentive. What's the incentive of switching from the dollar to, I don't know, EOS?
None.
What's the incentive to switching from the dollar to the Bitcoin Cash?
None.
You got to create that. You got to create that.
But will we ever? We're in the days of Cash App, Venmo, all these instant transfer of fiat currencies. Aside from, and again, we got to think outside the box here, people, because we're thinking from within. We're thinking group think perspective. We're not thinking the masses. They don't care about, we've lost 99% of the dollar value since 1913 and blah blah blah, all that stuff. They just want convenience. You know what I'm saying?
That minus,
Trek, What do you say, Trey?
Let me throw my little 2 Satoshis on this one. So I have a presentation that I do that is geared towards the more senior citizens, right? And the basis of my presentation is that if you talk to somebody who's 60 years old, if you talk to somebody who's 90 years old, or even 100 years old, they've been around long enough to see the transition of money be upgraded based on the medium of technology. And what we see right now at our particular interval in this upgrade of money is the medium is upgrading. And this medium of technology called blockchain is allowing us to use a medium of exchange in a different capacity. Every time money upgrades in its based on the technology, people's understanding of how they can use it eventually has to upgrade with it, and how they interact with it, how they hold it, how they store it, how they value it as far as, is this going to be just a store of value for me? Or will I use it as an what you call an account, a medium of exchange, right? Mm-hmm. And so in regards to how I personally look at this blockchain thing in use case of cryptocurrency as a currency, we're relatively right on time as far as this mass adoption thing goes. Because when you look at how long fiat has been used, when you look at how long gold or precious metals have been used as a currency or as a store of value, these things have hundreds and thousands of years in some capacity or another, timeline wise. So to then look at just us doing, you know, a 10, 11 year marker, depending on what thing you count as the first birthday, right? This shit is a drop in the bucket. Like, we're literally still at the beginning part, right? We're just getting to where X amount of people have an understanding, oh, there's this thing called blockchain and you can use it in this way of a currency. Like, we're too early in to be like, well, why isn't half of the planet using Bitcoin right now? Because when they first came up and said, hey, let's use gold to replace you using sand and like quarry shells and stones and what you call an island, like, guess what? Like, it took time to go from point A to point B and then push all of these things out. That's the other part of it. Like, there was a central driving force, i.e. the government, i.e. the banksters back in the day, that were pushing things out this way. This technology is moving and upgrading in a way, like I said, people's concept and understanding of money has to change with that technology and the abilities and options that it allows you to do. That's what we're still out here playing with and experimenting with and trying to like expound on other people. Like, hey, listen, I can send you decimal points of something. I can give you microtransaction payments in a streaming fashion. I can't do that shit with gold. I can't do that with USD. Like, I can't pay for something in under a penny value. You can't do that with those mediums of what we call currency, what we call money. Why? Because that technology and that system isn't at that level for those options. We now have it. We got people who have to now learn, i.e. my kids in that Z generation, in that what they call the new Alpha Bravo generation, right? That's going to be their thing growing up. They're going to have, bro.
I don't even know about Alpha Bravo. What the hell?
Bro.
Sound like some Rainbow Six. What the hell?
Yeah, bro. Like, when I tell you, bro, like, I realized when I talk with my daughter and my son on some stuff, man, and they're at two different stages.
Yeah.
High school and college. And it isn't necessarily a huge age difference per se, but just in regards to like the things that they are crossed on as far as what they pay attention to. And yo, we gonna get into this on a roundtable, CB, for where this crypto thing is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put my kids onto this years ago when I early in the beginning got in, and they still kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you talk about that crypto Bitcoin thing, whatever. Now
Now
they
that's a
have
problem, but that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's a problem. If they're not even like, if they're not excited about it, like, is the message wrong? Or do we have a PR problem in crypto?
Yes.
I
We have a
think
PR problem.
I wouldn't. Yes. Yeah, definitely do. But like I said, just not a PR problem. What's the incentive? What's the incentive for using these coins other than speculation? Like,
Right, speculation, of course, right.
Like, if you're a trader,
I'm
you
gonna
love this.
argue there is more than just speculation. Like I always say to CB, and we go in this whole back and forth thing. You say, it's about. I say, don't dismiss the people who are actually using it for the other things besides price speculation. Like I think that's just really dismissive and saying, well, how you use it don't matter. If we are talking about how cryptos is open to anybody and use it how it suits you and where you are and what you're trying to get done in life, right? I.e., I need to use it to spend to get some kind of thing, or i.e., I want to use it to be a store of value. Like I know people who getting into Bitcoin as that's going to be their retirement thing. I'm not dismissing them because I'm not doing it that way. Like it can check more than one box. That's my point about this.
I did
more than one box.
I'm not saying that to dismiss. I'm just saying, like, for the majority of people, that's where they're buying Bitcoin. They're speculating that it's going to keep going up in price. That's just the majority of people. Even those people that you give that example of, they're buying it for the retirement account. Like that's why they're buying it, because they believe it's going to go up in price. I just believe that's the reality of the space right now. And that's where we have to change. You have to, like I said, you got to create some type of incentive to where people want these coins. Like, people are the same way they're looking at Bitcoin like now. Like, oh, I heard about that. They're gonna be looking at the dollar or the euro. Like, oh yeah, we used to use that, but this is better because of X. And we don't have that X yet. And I think maybe somewhat of the PR would be is like getting ahead of this whole collapse. Because whether it melts up or if it crashes, everyday people are going to be affected. A real alternative would be a different currency, a different system. And the technology there is not being used in that realm. Like I said, most of these coins are, people that have capital that are then creating this technology, and, they're putting it out to the public for mostly speculation. They're not really creating the incentive. As far as like scaling and all this, I think some of those issues are being addressed. But if you don't, like what CB is saying, if you don't have the end user, going for it, there's no point. It's just useless technology at this point.
No, okay. Let me say it this way, right? And this is where I find I am very Andresian in my school of thought. Andreas brings up the whole thing of, is Bitcoin going to be the one that's here 10, 20 years down the line? Don't know. Is Ethereum going to be, the number 10 in 5 years? Is EOS going to be the number 1 in 15 years?
No, you don't know.
Don't know.
You don't know.
One thing we are very certain on, though, is this technology that allows us to use money in a very different capacity than what we've done every generation before us is going to be here, and it is going to improve. And so for me, the bigger long run picture is you might not get it now, right? As far as like, well, what's the incentive for you to cross over into? What was the incentive for people to cross over into using fiat when they, initially had precious metals? Oh, it's lighter to carry. I don't need a whole satchel thing. I can hide it easier. And guess what? Like, I don't have to worry about you actually. What's the thing where they short the purity of it? And
not fungibility, but I know what you're talking about.
They did it during the Roman era and all that stuff, right? And then here you go, for example,
debase,
right?
Debase the currency. Right.
So the incentive, we keep trying to argue that the incentive has to be like something that we can quote monetize on. No, it's about functionality. It's about what I needed to do for where I'm at. Case in point, what's the damn story? I forgot the name for the island. This is like how many thousands of years ago they used the boulders as a community store of value. Europeans come onto the island and go, hey, that's an interesting system. We want what you got, but we don't have what your currency is. The captain, this first captain, goes, you know what we'll do? We can go out into the ocean where they can't go, and that's how they debase that whole economic system. And the crazy part is, if you read the like story and the history behind it, the elders told the younger generations, don't mess with what they're giving us as quote new currency thing. The system got pushed in because the technology allowed for an easier acquisition of the boulders that were bigger, and they basically flooded the market of that island and destroyed that community's economic system, right? This is kind of like where we are now as far as the technology is open source. So yes, is there like 2,500 different coins and tokens? Yes, the market is being flooded with it, but at a certain point, guess what? You're still gonna have to have a culling happen for the things that actually work. And once those things actually stabilize out for what works, then we'll have an easier thing of like, okay, yeah, my 5-year-old now will make their bank account on their, crypto-based wallet next year when they're 6. And like, that's going to be their thing for the next 25, 50 years. Like, we keep arguing, like, what is the incentive? Like, why aren't people crossing over? It's too early for everyone to get how you can use this 10 times different ways than how you can use, your Cash App or your Venmo or whatever.
I hear you on that, but my thing is, it's been 10 years, right?
It's only 10 years.
Only 10. I give you that for sure. Only 10. You look at any type of new technology that is in comparison to short time period. But what I'm seeing, I'm looking at trends. I like to try to forecast. I'm trying to become a super forecaster at some point. That would be great. But the trend I'm seeing in the marketplace is that it's becoming easier and easier and more convenient for the everyday person to use fiat. Like I said, the Cash Apps, the Venmos, you got. I mean, are they? Can we create enough incentive for them to switch to crypto?
In the scenario
That's
of
the question.
Yo, John, go ahead. I'm gonna let you jump on that one first.
No, go ahead.
No, he was just saying that's the question. Yeah, he just.
Okay. In my opinion, when dealing in first tier countries, the convenience factor of the systems that are set up definitely do outweigh the practicality of where cryptocurrency is now, right? But at the same time, the limitations that those systems have are not apparent because we're in a first tier country that has certain levels of convenience to it. For example, the same thing of how I was telling you earlier about that situation in Iran and like what's going on in Spain and what's going on in X amount of the other countries. Those apps mean shit there too. Why? Because you don't have the connectivity. You have geo-locking. You have it that your stuff can actually just be froze on the app itself, where the company comes in and is like, oh, boom, your function stopped, right? Mm-hmm. But those things don't matter to us over here because we have the connectivity. We have the ease of system where we haven't like crossed the line and then all of a sudden our account got frozen. That's the simple thing of it. We haven't had the struggles and where we have to actually explore why the limitations of the systems that we have now. Bottom line. So as far as the incentive is concerned, it goes back to my earlier theory about the seesaw effect and the whole thing of the top down, bottom up based on the jurisdictions that you're in. If you're in a country that has X amount of these convenient systems that give you this whole pleasant, like everything is good life, you have no incentive to leave your facade of a good life because you're not struggling on anything. That's just how I see it. Like, yeah, you're right. There isn't much quote incentive because
nobody struggling. Nobody is no pain point, right?
It ain't no pain point unless, you know what I'm saying, you an adult entertainer, and then all of a sudden the bank or Cash App or Venmo is like, oh, we're gonna freeze your account because your money came from something, and that happens to how many people on a daily, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know any adult entertainers personally, but okay, yes, I guess it does.
But I was saying, like, and that's where I was mad about the incentive. Like, you know, in the system, I agree with everything you were saying. Like, as far as it's more convenient with fiat because there's more of an incentive to use fiat. It's easier, it's more accessible. There's really no incentive to use crypto. So my thing was, you know, as far as like a PR, you got to make it a turn-up system. Like, I think that's where a lot of people, a lot of these projects are missing the ball. Is like, you got to create a system where, you hear about the American dream, which is, you know, fantasy, but, you know, they sell you an American dream that, you know, you can come to this country, you can own your own land, and you'll be free to open up your own business and da-da-da-da-da. Like, you got to create that same narrative with a crypto project. Like, okay, you start using this crypto, you can have some type of incentive. But maybe he's right. Maybe it's going to take decades, or maybe it'll take a crash or something for people to look in for an alternative. But as right now, I just don't see anything. I don't see any project making any leeway with adoption. And I think like I said, most of the space is speculation right now.
All right, John Hill, thanks for the call, man. We got another person coming in. Before I get to the next person, I know we're going 2 hours now, Trek. I don't know how much time left you got.
I already told you what I was doing beforehand, so it don't matter to me. I already sent off the email I needed to.
All right, cool. So before we go any further, look, this is a whole new format with YouTube and how they allow us to do live streams. So I could not see the super chats. John Hill, thank you for the super chat. He was just online. I think he's still on. Little Troll Box, thank you for the super chat. We got Naked Matrix, thank you again for the super chat. And then also Tyson 800. So let me address Little Troll's question via the super chat really quickly. He's asking about Project Hex. It's basically a CD on the blockchain. Bitcoin holders free claim, or you can send ETH similar to EOS. ICO thoughts. I haven't looked at that. Trek, have you looked at Hex at all?
Nope. I'm not even gonna try to show you on it. No.
Yeah, I have not, man. I'm sorry, Little Troll Box. I do not know anything about. I know who Richard Hart is, of course, but I have no clue what this Hex project is about. I'll take a look at it. But
he did another. Richard Hart, the red hair dude?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the second project that he's put out, like coin wise?
I'm not sure. Little Troll Box, let us know in the comments if this is like the second project or first or whatnot. And everyone in the chat, let us know your thoughts about Hex. I'll have to look into it a little bit. So that whole DeFi movement that's pretty popular.
Right.
That's, kind of gaining traction in the crypto game. We do have another caller, though. It's your boy Crypto Blood. Got Trek here, Off the Chain, episode 15. Who's calling in?
Hey, what's up? It's from Bankroll Network. I just sent you a super chat, by the way.
What's going on, T?
What's up?
Who is this?
You failed me,
Trek
man.
knows
who
he. Trek knows who you are.
You failed me.
How do I fail you?
Me.
How?
Do I have to get the gun out?
So
what's going on?
Just to give you a little background, Tony Perkins from Bankroll Network. I've been in the game since 2011. Met Roger Ver, Eric Voorhees.
Another OG.
Yeah,
I got to give a round of applause for another OG in the game.
Mining. Yep. It was 75 at that first international Bitcoin conference in New York City in the summer of 2011. And, Eric hadn't even got started yet. He was just a libertarian in New Hampshire. But way before his exploits like Satoshi Dice and Shapeshift and all that stuff.
I used to play Satoshi Dice.
Yeah.
Blew too much money on Satoshi. Man, the price of Bitcoin now and what I used to send to Satoshi Dice, woo, I would be in the high roller room right now, boy. I'm telling you.
That's what's up. That is what's up. So I don't know. Yeah, I had 2 miners that I built myself. And hundreds of Bitcoin, lost it in Mt. Gox, and frankly, I lost interest. I was making, 6 figures working for State Street, a bank, and then Fidelity. Basically, 20 years of fintech. So, similar background to yourself, and so I was just like, I kind of missed the boat. And then when I finally started paying attention again, I was just like, if I ever get into this again, like, I think probably like a third of us at that conference dropped out, and everybody else made mad bank or is like a billionaire.
So let's talk about that, bro, because
that's how early
back
it was.
then we didn't know what this thing was going to, people talk about it nowadays. Like, yeah, you say that because you're looking at the price right now. Like, but the reason why you weren't in it then is the reason, like, we didn't know what was going to happen with Bitcoin. It was an experiment.
Yeah.
And you got in way earlier than I did. And shoot, you really probably didn't know what was going to happen with this whole thing.
It was just a cool hobby. I mean, it was
like right.
I was big into open source. Like, so I was doing open source software. I was a big advocate for bringing open source. You're muted on the Zoom.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so I was a big advocate of open source. So that's kind of what kept my interest for a while. I brought a lot of open source technology into the banks that I was working for. Fidelity was like a founding member of like the Node.js Foundation, for example, not too long ago, a couple of years ago. And, that's revolutionized, server-side development in JavaScript, so now you can code on front and back, in just one language. That's huge for the web, a huge win for the web and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I still use that today, like in the work that, all the work that I do I'm going to get to it, Trent.
I'm surprised you already didn't, honestly.
No, because it's great listening to you guys because, it's bigger than just one project, right? It's about what's driving everything,
Right.
So, but I am going to get to it because I think the problem with Bitcoin and a lot of these other projects, just like you guys are talking about, is that it's all kind of built around the concept of bag holding. And, it seems like the older Bitcoin gets, the worse it is because, it's already attained a certain amount of storage of value, which means that it's not going to really do much for people getting in late who need it the most, right? There's the censorship resistance, the permissionlessness. Those are very important for things like Venezuela and things like that. But let's face the facts, like, you have first world problems, you have everybody else problems, right?
Yeah.
And so,
right.
So you can be, you want to be broke in a third world country or want to be broke in the United States? I'll be broke in the United States any day of the week.
Yeah.
And if I have a pretty face and I can shake my thing, I'll be okay.
Right.
So
right.
So those are the facts. And so Bitcoin is just for bag holding. At the end of the day, if you don't have money now, Bitcoin probably is not going to make you rich. And the way that, if you look at what Wall Street is doing with options and things like that, they're going to suppress it just like they suppress gold. It's going to be great because it's going to play in this channel. It's going to play in like, maybe it'll play in like 3,000 up to like, maybe 20,000. Or maybe they'll move the channel up.
I got to give you another round of applause because these are the conversations, people, you're not hearing on Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, and all these outlets and crypto Twitter. You're not hearing the real people. You know what I mean? These are people. We're talking to people who have been in this game, who's seen the transformation, the evolution, the maturation of Bitcoin, and they can assess it from the right point of view. And he is telling the truth. I'm telling you guys. Listen to this guy. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is the best financial asset in human history. It's just not going to play out like you think it is.
Right.
You might want to learn how to, use options and know what a butterfly and a flying condor is. You might want to know what those things are, and you're going to make a lot of good money on Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But
tell us about blockchain though, because see, back then, again, you're a little bit more of an OG, you're a triple OG possibly, in this game.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have blockchain back then. I know you probably remember back in the day, we used to say, and Andreas Antonopoulos used to always say this, there's a difference between uppercase or capital Bitcoin B and lowercase b. Remember that? And that was kind of the start of blockchain and Bitcoin. But now we have a whole new industry. We have a blockchain industry. What are your thoughts on blockchain and what will that do? The smart contract blockchains and projects and stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Okay. So remember when I said, I swore if I ever had the opportunity again, I wouldn't waste it.
Yeah.
So, fast forward to today, I make maybe a third of what I was making at my last fintech job at Fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
But I love what I do now, and I love my community. We're 8,000 strong. We're on the Tron blockchain.
Okay.
Permissionless financial economic system. It's called Bankroll. It has a banker token, which is like one of the number one performing tokens on Tron blockchain.
Okay. All
the Tron tokens, it's what is it? Starts from the left and goes down, tanking prices and stuff. Wink was a big failure. They talk about Tron and talk about casinos and gambling. I'm like, you know what? That's great. I like casinos and gambling because that means that there's economic activity on that blockchain. There's real people, degenerates, but real people with real money.
You said degenerates. Yo.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
But they're bringing real
the crypto off of gambling, so.
That was the first thing I was doing, gambling right from the wallet, baby. Sending them sats out and hoping I get three back.
Eric is an awesome advocate for the space, awesome representative for the space. But everyone had to have a start, right? And if he didn't have Satoshi Dice, he wouldn't have everything else that he's done in the industry.
Yeah,
these are facts, Yeah. So but that economic activity, that's a real incentive. I have permissionless gambling, betting, sports betting, everything. That's bringing money into the ecosystem. And then you have a system like Bankroll. Bankroll used to have a dice game. I got rid of it. It is a pure DeFi gaming network. Allows people to basically use things that look it might look like a certificate of deposit. It might look like a savings account. It looks like an exchange, but they're all kind of wired to get together. And then there's like this sort of flagship game called Luck that kind of, you can just play a single game and it'll just shove your Tron into different areas of the ecosystem, and it also produced the banker token. The banker token's our flagship, and it's our flag that we're waving to the crypto community and the world and say, hey, look at us, look at us. That also brings revenue into the ecosystem directly, right?
So
and then we just spread it all around.
Like Reggie.
Huh?
I said, watch out. You end up like Reggie.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a security. It's not a security. So
they all say that.
No. Okay,
I'm not. No one's gonna say I am a security. Like they all say I'm not a security.
So how he tests himself? So if you the Richard Hart Bitcoin Hex, I started following Richard again because Richard has done a lot of the things that I have done in terms of avoiding failing the Howey test. So I didn't even introduce a token until the network was already built. I pay my mortgage, and other people pay their mortgage, and other people pay their groceries. I'm just playing these games, and I report on my taxes income. But
okay, so I got a question. I want to get off that topic because I don't want self snitching. I don't want you to get in trouble. We're just gonna leave that alone. My question to you though, Bankroll, is how why Tron? That's what I want to know. I'm curious. I don't know as much as I want.
Well, he gonna try to sell you the EOS, yo. He gonna try to sell you over.
I'm just wondering, bro. Why not EOS? Why? I really want to know. I really want to know.
This only so like we have a project. We have a project in Cambodia feeding a whole village. We have the Bankroll Village project in Cambodia. So it comes down to real people. Like you talk about the numbers with bots versus real people. Tron at the end of the day is real people, real gamblers, real people looking to make money. So we appeal to just people who want. The point is financial inclusion. But to answer your question directly, I started out with this experiment on Ethereum, and I was amazed just mainly by the permissionless stuff. And then, DAI and the DeFi stuff kind of happened, started kicking up like after I made the switch. So the DeFi stuff's only been about a year, really. I mean, it's been stuff in the works for longer. But even the hottest project, Synthetics, used to be Haven Protocol, now Synthetics, they really started getting traction just in the last couple of months on Ethereum. But Ethereum had already failed me because I'm trying to build a gaming network. When you fire one transaction, you do one action in the network, it causes a cascade of economic activity, and everyone in the network is impacted with just a single transaction. That money gets divvied up. That crypto gets divvied up. So I needed a performant network, and I also had a base of there's a core. So what a lot of people don't understand is that there's a core base of DApp heads. People who play dApps, people who love dApps, because you can make money from dApps in any market, in a sideways market, in a bear market, in a bull market. You can always make money if you play dApps. A lot of people don't know that. So I make dApps where nobody loses. We're rowing the boat together. We're hodling together. We're winning and losing off of each other. But now with the banker token, it's not even a zero-sum game anymore because there's money, outside capital coming in by people purchasing the tokens and then staking them, things like that. So that all has to run like a game. If people are waiting for transactions to close, and in Ethereum, transaction is not guaranteed. If you just do an action on Ethereum, it's not guaranteed to complete.
I'm not talking about Ethereum. Ethereum is that. That's irrelevant. I'm talking about EOS. Why not EOS? Why did you pick Tron over EOS?
Okay, so getting back to open source, Tron, Justin Sun's smart. He's a good manager. You cannot ignore the fact that Solidity has the mind share. And when I say the mind share, I mean the mind share like in terms of like EOS doesn't have the same mind share in terms of the economists, the developers, the architects, the security specialists. Like across the board, EOS is just this centralized team right? That produced a bunch of software that they open source, but they're a centralized team.
Okay.
What Vitalik and Co. have built, and I guess more so what Consensus has built, is a true open source ecosystem. And as someone who's been like an advocate of open source within the enterprise, I had to sell it to like CTOs and even C-suite, to get people fidelity to use open source in mission critical areas. Use cloud technology in mission critical areas. I helped Fidelity transition to AWS. Was one of the first projects. My FidSafe project that I ran was one of the first projects to get launched on AWS. So from Fidelity. So yes, like EOS is not they got a lot of money, but in terms of mindshare, enterprise level mindshare, Ethereum is the leader. And when it's about it, it's more about the language that's being used. And so Solidity, as ugly as it is the reason why there's traction on Tron, is the reason why I can take the work that Synthetics is doing, I can take the work that Maker's doing, and I can immediately use it on a blockchain that makes sense and actually just works.
So you're blockchain agnostic?
I really don't care as long as it works. But there's only so much time in a day, and I'm more focused on results. So and so for the people in my community, including myself, can we use blockchain today to create an economic environment where we can actually earn money and pay our bills? And the answer is yes. And now it's more about just pouring in people. We're pretty much protocol complete. Won't be that much more development. There'll be a mobile app or something like that, but you can access the platform from mobile. Most people in the community wake up to bankroll, and then they hit a bunch of buttons to roll the dividends or withdraw them if they have to pay bills. So I appeal to not tech people. I appeal to my number one keyword on Google is make money at home. That's the phrase. Make money on your couch. Those. If you appeal to that, then permissionless DeFi is the answer. Today, you can do this today, and a lot of and just to show how it's going. If you go to Tron now, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of projects either doing DeFi whitewashing or actually starting to develop real DeFi apps based on the leadership position of the bankroll community. So.
All right, cool,
we're just getting started.
I'll have to look into it, man. I got another caller, man. I really appreciate you calling in, and definitely appreciate the super chat, bro.
Hey,
no problem. Later, Thank you. Love your stuff, and I love all your new formats.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And much better, by the way, Tone. We're gonna talk about this.
Patrick Booth. Let me get Patrick. He got I don't hear any sound from Patrick though.
Neither do I.
Now he's trying to turn the lights on before I put him on the screen. See if I can get his I don't have any. I don't know why I don't even have a mic icon by his name, which is weird. Patrick Booth, I don't have a mic. I don't have any audio from you. Oh, he's putting a.
He might not have had it plugged in.
Maybe not. Still don't have any audio, Patrick Booth. He's running away again. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, man. We're now 2 hours and 18 minutes. We're gonna probably wrap up after Patrick Booth. I appreciate everyone coming on tonight. I had a great time. We didn't even get to all the topics, which is actually good. Go ahead.
Can we jump on that CB story?
Which one?
No, sorry, CZ story. The one with Binance.
Yeah, so let's talk about this Binance, people. The CEO, CZ, is actually suing over the fake police raid story that was actually put out by The Block. Interesting. What's your take on that, man?
So, all right. I am not a big fan of CZ on the end of because he's given X amount of clout because of how much money his platform makes, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also not a fan of this story and how it was put out. And then when he called them on it, assuming that this didn't actually happen, that no office was raided and they didn't just say, you know what, our bad, or gave something that gave acknowledgement to, you know what, we should have stepped up on, the valid verifying the information or whatever. The scary part to me is that this kind of sets another thing, a notch in his belt, where if he barks loud enough on someone in the space, because he's considered a big dog, because the platform makes so much money, he can basically make, any news outlet or any other person or entity kowtow to whatever version of a story he wants to put out. That's the thing that I don't like about what this kind of shows me as what's going on in the space right now. And I think that this is an example of it. Like, there's been other things that he's done, said, that I'm just like, I get you, but
this sounds like the same system over again. Dictatorship, big dogs kind of censoring the little people.
And then him and his son and Justin want to do a fund for
a FUD fund.
FUD, yeah. Like, I get you.
What the hell?
But I'm not 100%.
The article says two of the wealthiest men in cryptocurrency plan to raise a FUD fighting fund worth more than $1 million, presumably to wield as an impact or implicit threat against journalists who report facts that run contrary to their business interests.
Bro, tell me that don't sound like you gonna be out there checking people.
That's exactly what they're gonna be doing. Wow. Let's see if I can get my man here, Patrick, on. Okay, now he's got Mike now. So let me hit him over. What's going on, bro?
Hey guys, good to chat with you finally.
Yeah, same.
It's a pleasure. So Bankroll Network, man, that guy, he knew his stuff, like straight up. He knows exactly what's up. Shout out to Mainframe OS, by the way. Anybody that's really wanted to dive into DeFi. DeFi is really changing the game, man. It's putting the bankers out of business. And that's just the way I see it. Nonetheless, I know he was elaborating on those bank tokens, but like once you taste the real crypto, that's a fluid and liquid, can go anywhere in the world and transact at high speeds. Like, you don't even need a bank. You don't need a bank token. Right now. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So
what project are you interested in right now?
I really like Soundlinks. Soundlinks is my shit. I'm a musician by trade, AV technician by trade, and I earn all my royalties on blockchain, like straight up.
Is there a demand for that yet? Really? I can't see that being a real demand yet, man.
Well, I'll be real with you.
Yeah.
As somebody that was a first mover in a market, like literally moving tokens as they unlocked from royalties for thousands of plays that I accumulated from organic, marketing that I did my damn self. There was demand. Right now, demand is pretty low though, and platforms are still emerging. Major business partners and major organizations are stepping into the game right now. Like, I'm working on a platform that's backed by the Grammys right now. Like, it's unreal, dude. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's always in the works.
Yeah, stuff is always in the works. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, what did you want to come on and talk about tonight? You're the last guest.
Specific to that.
Okay.
The idea of monetizing your data. instead of just giving it to some Vanity Fair on YouTube or, Facebook, Instagram. Like, come on, guys. Like, everybody's all about, hey, let's go ahead and post on IG. Let's do it for the gram. Just straight up doing it for the social influence. Why not take your data and make an immutable permanent ledger?
Okay, so my question is to you. I agree with you. That sounds all fine and dandy. How do we get people to jump on that, though? That's what we were talking about earlier, as far as it not. We've got a disconnect still here. We don't have the people, the common folks aren't interested. They're not interested in this, what you're talking about. Great platform, making money. You can do, but how do we get more people? How do we get their attention? Because we evidently... we don't have their attention right now.
It's going to take a multi-trillion-dollar bubble. It's going to take a multi-trillion-dollar bubble, bro. That's all it takes is a one multi-trillion-dollar bubble. Once Bitcoin breaks through 10 trillion in market cap, like once the entire collective of coins are worth $10 trillion, we're going to see a mass influx and a mass exodus from the traditional markets.
10 trillion or 1 trillion?
I'm thinking 10 trillion. Like,
we got a long way to go to get to one.
I agree.
No, we got to crawl before we walk, man. You didn't jump.
Of course. Yeah, I know. It sounds absurd to think past 1 trillion and what 1 trillion could possibly mean. But I think that's right around the corner in the next happening, like literally next year. Like 1 trillion is
Oh, 1 trillion. Okay, so
I think 1 trillion. I think 1 trillion is like super close, and people still aren't hip. People still aren't hip. Like, dude, I'm still like a first mover. Like a whale was sitting on tokens that are definitely undervalued compared to a hyperinflationary asset that's being issued by a central bank, literally like an hour away from where I live. Like, yeah, dude, I know what's good. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, people aren't gonna wake up to the reality until they can see that this is worth thousands, and these record executives are literally doing this for them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like that's the thing. Like, people want shit to be done for them. They want it to be simple. They want it to be automated, and they don't actually want to dig in deep into the nuance. They're normies, bro. Like, people don't give a fuck about like a blockchain. They just want money. They want something tangible, man. Like, it doesn't matter how you distribute your system, as long as it works and it's fast, it's convenient, and somebody doesn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to process something. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you, Trek. Do you want to chime in on anything that Patrick has said?
All right, so I think that he's right in that, like, you got the people who's still ahead of the curve, and I think it goes to the thing that I was saying before. Like, the technology upgraded, and what you are able to do with this technology is beyond what you were able to do with just your debit card or your bank card or your smartphone. And we're still trying to get people just to understand the peer-to-peer part of this thing.
Yeah,
like,
correct.
That's still level 1 shit. Like,
I know.
And then there's still X amount more things, and we haven't even gotten to what this is gonna look like, another 10 years down the road. Like, when this is 20 years old, like, we're not going to be just talking about peer-to-peer stuff. And we still talking about like peer-to-peer stuff at 20-year marker for cryptos as a money medium. Like, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be sad, honestly, because we should be beyond that point. And I'm not saying like, oh, we have the absolute, like, here's the one that's going to top them all, but we should definitely be further along in people being able to understand, like, hey, I can do a whole nother set of things that I couldn't do with having a regular traditional bank account, that I couldn't do with Cash App or Venmo. Like, they're still in their early stages, and like, look at what PayPal is trying to do with their sideways move over of being in the banking space. Like,
yes,
I definitely agree.
But again, though, dude, the big guys haven't gotten to the game yet.
Facts.
So what does it look right? So what does it look like when PayPal has their own blockchain, DeFi, blah blah blah, whatever? Are they going to just take all the demand because they're it's like low hanging fruit for them?
Okay,
they've got the vertical. They've already got the vertical of millions and millions tens of millions of customers already.
Right. And then it goes back to the thing I was saying before, right? What happens like when we don't have anything to worry about, or we aren't in the issues of having to figure out what the limitations of those systems are. Come the next recession, us in the first world having first world conveniences, we're gonna have first world problems. And that's when it doesn't matter if you're a PayPal or a Google or a Venmo or whatever. Like, people are gonna be like, yo, your stuff don't work, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay. I can dig that.
See, that's the idea about the whole peer-to-peer aspect. The system doesn't even really have to work. Like, it doesn't need to run through a central authority, and that's the reason why I love it so much. And to be honest with you, like, there's terms and conditions underneath like these Coinbase cards and these Cash App cards and whatnot, man. I'm not even with that for real. Like, I'd rather just turn a key into a voucher straight up nowadays. Like,
no, I hear you. I hear that. I hear that, man. Well, definitely, Patrick, man, I appreciate you calling in. I don't think I've ever seen you on my channel, but as far as in the comments, but definitely, man, I appreciate you calling in.
Oh, anytime.
And go ahead.
Thanks for having me. Shout out to Blockchain Center Miami.
All right. Blockchain Center Miami. Little plug in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, what's the name? Eve Banks. Erica Bank. Yeah. You know Mackenzie?
Mackenzie? I've met her. Yeah.
All right.
That was a minute ago, actually. Summer. So, yeah. Also.
Yo. All right, CB, we're gonna get to, folks. Listen, because I'm about to throw something out there for something that Crypto Bloods are gonna be on.
Go ahead.
Oh, so December 13th to the 14th is the Virtual Pop Summit. I'm bringing CB and a couple of other folks on the cryptos and pop culture roundtable. So it's gonna be CB, it's gonna be me, it's gonna be Bitcoin Zay, the author of Bitcoin in Black America. Tavania Evans, who's the founder of Guapcoin, and Mackenzie Slaughter, who is she's the founder of Beyond Capital Markets, and we're gonna be talking about cryptos and pop culture and like where we are with things now and like what we see going forward. And I think it's gonna be live, bro, because like Mackenzie got some thoughts, and then like Zay got some thoughts, and I'm so curious to get to actually talk with Tavania, because she's a hardcore coder, bro. And like she's getting around and she's doing some things here in the States and overseas. So I'm really curious to like hear everybody's like perspective on what we see going on.
Nice. Well, there you have it, man. I had an awesome time tonight. Thanks for Trek coming on. Might have to have you come back again. I guess we can do it next weekend. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to try different stuff, man. I'm just having fun, really, to be honest with you. Again, thank you to everyone out there. Oh, yeah, real quick plug for me. You guys, go out there and get you one of those Make Crypto Great Again hats on cryptoblood.io. You can get you one for $28.99.
Ooh,
support your boy Crypto Blood. Yeah, no doubt. Again, cryptoblood.io for that hat, people.
Yes. Last thing I was going to say, podcast is Trek and Cryptos to Connect. You can find me on anchor.fm/Trek. That's TREKK. That was it.
No doubt. Thank you again, B Minor, for the super chat. John Hill for another super chat. Bankroll Network for the super chat. Joy for the super chat. Tyson 800 for the super chat. Naked Metrics for the super chat. Little troll box. We all here, people.
I've definitely been live, bro. Like, let's see how the messages is going through. Like, whoa,
chain. We got cats in there battling with each other, cussing each other out. People calling Obama the anti-Christ. I love it, bro. Keep it coming. It's your boy Crypto Blood. That's it. Off the Chain, episode 15. I guess I can end it like that. We out of here, people. Let me have that music fade back up. This is my jam right here, people. Yeah.
I on the sparrow. I told you, make moves, nigga, stack the dinero. Make the world go round, you better get some. I don't know about you, me, I'm a prince. The digital circuitry to circulate this current.